How's it going today, folks? Riding season is officially here. Are you ready? How's it going today, folks? My name is Peoplz, and welcome back to my motorcycle channel. But if you're new here, this is your first time seeing me, and you like motorcycles, love motorcycles, the motorcycle culture, or you just want to learn more about both, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button and checking out my other videos. Today, I'm going to tell you about a motorcycle that I have loved for a very, very, very long time. Back in 2009, I bought my first brand new Harley. Now, it wasn't my first bike. I'd had a lot since then, back from the mid-90s. But this is my first brand new Harley Davidson. And it was actually a 2009 Dyna Street Bob that had a 96 cubic inch that I punched out to 103. That's it right there. Yeah, I know. That was a long time ago. Didn't really have any gray. I look really young. But today I'm going to tell you about the latest incarnation of this motorcycle. This is the 2022 Harley Davidson Softail Street Bob 114. Okay, now that you've got a good look at this beautiful motorcycle, let me tell you a little bit more about it so you can see that it is more than just a pretty face. This is built off Harley Davidson's new generation Softail frame. It's a mild steel tubular section design that is a monoshock, and it weighs 35 pounds less than the previous generation. It's also stiffer and more rigid and allows the suspension to do a better job of making this bike ride better and handle better. But I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later. But something I'm gonna tell you about right now is this motor right here. This is 114 cubic inches of straight power. This is the second biggest motor that Harley Davidson makes in a production motorcycle. And on this little bitty bike, this bike only weighs 655 pounds. In fact, it is the lightest Softail that Harley makes right now. It's gonna rocket this bike from 0 to 60 in less than 4 seconds. Now, for a while, I've kind of been echoing that Harley Davidson's emphasis is on power and performance. And with this little hot rod right here, they are definitely not going to disappoint you. At the heart of this beast is Harley Davidson's famous 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine. It's 1,868 cc's of pure power. It's a single cam overhead valve design that is oil cooled. It features 4 valves per cylinder. That's 2 intake and 2 exhaust. So it breathes with this high flow air cleaner very, very well. And with 2 spark plugs per cylinder, it's going to completely and efficiently burn that fuel, no waste. And that's why with the air intake, the combustion, and the exhaust, this motor is going to produce 119 pound-feet of torque, and it's still going to get 47 miles to the gallon. Now I get to tell you about the suspension, the thing that makes this bike ride and handle so well. Early in the video, I touched on that just a little bit. This is, like I said, Harley Davidson's new Softail frame. Yes, it is lighter, but as I briefly told you, this frame is more rigid and more stiff and way more solid. The reason behind that is if you have a very solid and stiff chassis, it allows the suspension to work and do its job better and be more efficient at it. It also allows you to tune it to the ride in that particular motorcycle. And with this one, they didn't slouch on that at all. This is Harley Davidson's massive 49mm telescoping fork tubes. And they even brought over the technology for the turn bikes. This is their dual valve bending technology that they're utilizing on this bike as well. Now that's going to allow this bike to ride and handle and maneuver in the slow speeds, but also be incredibly stable and responsive at high speeds, which I kind of have a feeling that's where this bike is going to spend a lot of time at. But if you think it's amazing what we did in the front of this motorcycle, wait till you see what we did with the rear suspension in the back of this motorcycle. Take the seat off, you can get a real good look at the rear suspension on this motorcycle. This right here is Harley Davidson's preload adjustable monoshock design. It's connected right here to the back of the spine of the motorcycle under the gas tank in the seat, and the other pivot point is connected to the back of the swing arm right here. This is the preload adjustment, this is the actual shock absorber, and this is the tunable spring. So far in this video, you've seen how beautiful this motorcycle is, and I've told you about how well it rides and handles with this advanced suspension that's on this chassis. I've even told you about how fast it is with this massive motor, but now we need to talk about how to slow down and stop this little hot rod. And Harley's got you covered right there. Up front, they have a massive 300mm brake rotor that is mated to a 4-piston brake caliper. And in the rear, they have a 292mm brake rotor, which is mated to a floating dual piston brake caliper. And as an added level of suspension, you have an optional advanced anti-lock braking system that you can get with this motorcycle for a little bit more confidence and another layer of safety. Well, what do you guys think? Me personally, I absolutely love this motorcycle, but then again, I'm probably a little biased because I've loved this bike since 2009 when I got my first Street Bob. Back then, for 15 plus years, I rode nothing but sport bikes. And the Street Bob was my first Harley Davidson. And I'm not gonna lie, I rode extremely aggressive back then. And I did the same thing with this bike. I mean, just because you change your bike doesn't mean you change your riding styles overnight. I mean, a Leopard doesn't change its spots. But this bike, I took it on the back roads and it handled everything I threw at it. I mean, I could not outride the limits of this bike. It was amazing. And keep this in mind, it was a Dyna back then, so it was heavier than this bike. The suspension was good, but it wasn't great like this is. The brakes were good, but they weren't great like on this motorcycles. And it had power, but it wasn't nowhere near what this one is. Back then it was a 96. I punched it out to a 103, but that bike pales in comparison to this 114. I mean, it's a phenomenal bike. And I really think it's an excellent transition bike from someone who's had metric bikes and sport bikes like I did back then, that if you want to look, you want to, transition into a Harley Davidson, but you don't want to do a bagger or a Road King or something traditional like that. But at the same time, if you've never ridden a bike before and you're looking at Harley Davidson and you want to get a bike that has excellent manners at low speeds and slow speeds, and it handles great, but at the same time, it will grow with you at your skill level, this is the bike. I mean, it's got everything you're looking for. It's got the brakes, the handling, the anti-lock braking system, which is gonna be nice for the new riders. And for you sport bike riders, just the sheer power and handling that this bike has. Like I said, but then again, I might be a little biased. So what I'm gonna challenge you to do is, I'm gonna challenge you to go into a Harley dealership. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a link to Harley's national website in the description. I challenge you to go on there, get on a locator, find the closest dealership to you, go in and take a look at it. And if you are motorcycle endorsed, I challenge you to take it for a test ride, and then you'll see maybe Peoplz is not that biased at all. This is a phenomenal motorcycle. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, and my other videos, that you hit that subscribe button. You also give me a thumbs up like, that'll really help me with the algorithm, help me grow my channel. And also that you put in the comment section, #RideWithPeoples. But as I stated in the video earlier when it first started, it is officially riding season 2022. So I'm getting ready to hit stop on that camera there, go home, get on my bike, and I'm gonna hit a couple corners. So if it's nice and beautiful where you're at right now, I want you to go out to your garage, get on your motorcycle, and let's go ride.